Hello, you awesome people, and welcome to our next live webinar. It is currently October 2015, and tonight we're running a live webinar on running a live webinar. And we have a guest right from the United Kingdom tonight, don't we, Mark?
Well, United Kingdom and the Sutherland Shire, and we're sat here in Northmead enjoying pizza. So, Jennifer, I see you've made a comment there. Sounds like a party there. Well, it is a party, and that's the joy of running webinars.
And it's funny, Mark, I suppose what's interesting, I've been very lucky to know Mark. Was it start of the year, I think?
It was around, start of the year, sort of January, February time.
Yeah, and where I'm very honoured to know Mark is that we've partnered in terms of basically I'm the Persian marketing mentor and crazy lunatic that helps people strategically. When it comes to the more communication, live webinar technology and public speaking, that's where Mark Kyte is a complete expert.
Well, that's the intent, is to help people get their message out there. And one of the best mechanisms in my mind is the online world, getting your message out there through webinars like we're doing tonight.
Exactly. And it's interesting, just giving commentary on this one. We actually ran a live workshop today. We ran the Profitable Marketing Forum. We had about 58 people, I think, attend. And even though that was awesome and we're all for it, running live webinars is just so much cheaper and just so much easier. So, and that's, to me, it's a great strategy. I love it, and it's all good. So just very quickly, just a quick caveat. This is giving these actual slides themselves constitute general advice by themselves. I'm a certified practicing marketer of the Australian Marketing Institute. If you want any specific advice, just ask us questions in real time. So if you're listening to the recording of this webinar, feel free to email Mark Kyte or myself, email addresses at the end. Or if you're live on the light, type in comments, say hello to us, okay? It's a really, really good functionality and good way of communicating. So here are some profitable reasons to pay attention. We love helping small business and owners and entrepreneurs, and the strategies and ideas that we're presenting today, we either use ourselves or our clients for massive success. In fact, we only teach what's the proven best, don't we, Mark Kyte?
That's right, Ed. If we're not doing it and if our clients aren't doing it, then it's not worth teaching it.
Exactly. So we didn't just, make something up. We didn't just learn something 2 hours ago and just make it up and pretending like we've known it for 20 years.
Oh, good God, no.
We do that every now and then. But no, seriously, this stuff is proven and it's stuff that we love doing. And hence we're here tonight. Now, just quickly, these webinars are put on the house. And if you like what you see tonight, I'd love you to consider engaging Mark Kyte or myself, or even check out our online products, or even share our stuff on Facebook. We love it and we appreciate it. Okay. All the strategies we teach are about you achieving more growth, success, and prospering, okay? Check out the slides afterwards. Now, just a bit of quick information about me. There's quite a few people on the line I don't actually know tonight. Ed Zia, I'm an ex-military and corporate marketing director. I've helped hundreds of small business owners. I do a lot of marketing strategy and business help for my awesome clients. And also just a little bit about me. I was a marketing manager when I was very young. I used to work for the Australian Army in special projects. I used to do very special stuff for the government, following very bad people and keeping an eye on them and making sure they don't do bad stuff. And these days I'm a Knight with the Order of St. John, so nothing's really changed over the years. And I'm with Mark Kyte. Tell us all about you, Mark.
So my background is, I've got a background in IT, which I think is one of the sick and twisted reasons why I love webinars. I love the technical aspect of them. I love getting them working, but I also sort of fell into public speaking probably about 10, 12 years ago when I had a career change forced on me by a downturn in the IT market. So that put me out of work. It forced me to basically reevaluate my skills. And one of the things that happened was I had to go out and improve my communication skills. Curiously, when I did, I got back into the workforce. From being a successful IT consultant, when I got back into the workforce in a short space of time, I trebled my income very quickly because all of a sudden I was an IT guy that communicated. And today I marry the two together. And one of the reasons I love webinars is because I'm still a little bit techie and still a bit sick and twisted in that sense.
Yeah. Just out of interest, Mark, like you've mentioned that before in a lot of speaking engagements that we've done. You're talking about, okay, you lost your job, you got affected in the downturn, then you learn public speaking and you made a massive comeback. How did the public speaking skills allow you to totally turn around your career and become as successful as you are today?
Well, the essence of it is you think back and contemplate the IT people that you know and think about how many of them can actually communicate. Now, not many of them are confident or even capable of talking to another human being. When you're an IT guy and you can talk to another human being, and when you can talk to many human beings at once, all of a sudden you start to stand out in the industry. And that's exactly what happened to me. And as a result, I was starting to get projects, I got promotions, and I was, from an IT side point of view, I was put in front of the business because I was the guy that could represent the division, whereas no one else in the division out of 300-400 people could do it. Hence why my income started to float up very, very quickly.
Okay, got it. So just as if I can paraphrase, Mark, are you basically saying that, look, because I could communicate effectively, I was trusted by hundreds of people to represent the department?
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, well, there you go. So this guy's pretty freaking cool. Now, one thing is that I'm right in seminar mode today. Web plus seminar equals webinar. Okay, I know you came to a webinar for more than that knowledge tonight. And one thing that I've really found today, and I'm very credible to talk about this, we had our live Sydney workshop today with quite a few people. I think it was 58 from memory. And to me, a webinar and a seminar actually aren't that different. Conceptually, I think they're quite similar. Of course, one's more technical in nature and one's quite different. But just being straight up with you guys, I don't see it as a huge difference. At the end of the day, okay, besides body language and communication, structurally, I don't see a huge difference between a seminar and a webinar. To me, it's more the devil in the detail.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. There is very little difference. And with some of the webinar platforms out there now where you can get on video, it becomes even closer to an in-person seminar than what we've ever had in the past.
Yeah. Oh, so there you go. So just a quick recap before we hand it over to Mark. I just want to talk about where it all began. Public speaking, from Moses talking to his followers, Jesus, people who thought Jesus was anti-establishment, to Caesar talking to his legions, to you and us today. One person speaking to many has been around all throughout time. And really where it comes to the present day is leverage is powerful. At the end of the day, if you're one person speaking to many at once, it's a very effective use of your time and a very profitable use of your time. And really, webinars are great for selling and also delivering training. Okay, so especially if you're a mentor, coach, or consultant, I think it's where webinars really work well. Like, sure, they work with tangible products, but I think if you're a mentor, coach, or consultant, that's where this technology really comes to its forefront.
Well, if you're not putting yourself out there and demonstrating your credibility, your expertise, then you are missing a massive opportunity. And I mean, you can go to and deliver in-person speaking events, but they have the downside that you've got to travel to them. They're hard to get in front of, whereas a webinar is an online event. You can draw an audience to you. You can sit at home, and that you then have the power to just basically do it from home. You can do it from wherever you want to, which is the real flexibility and power of webinars.
Yep, so very certainly compelling. Now, just quickly, with my own wins and lessons, I'll tell you one thing that I'll tell you the big mistake I've run with webinars, not doing enough of them. Recently upgraded to a fortnightly webinar program, which has been absolutely outstanding for my business from 2 points of view. It's been great for picking up new clients. So, a few of you guests on the line tonight might turn around and be crazy. I mean, be intelligent enough to hire one of us, right? I didn't say crazy, not at all. Because we love you guys to hire us if you need us. But also my awesome clients on the line and Mark's awesome clients. It's a great opportunity to give better customer service to people.
There's lots of little added benefits that you can put in with your existing product and service mix that you complement with a webinar to just give those extra little sell-on bonuses that become. It's interesting. Those little bonuses become the reason clients buy your products and services.
Exactly. Now, it is time to get to the good stuff. We're going to get right into it. Now, if any of you people recognize what this is on the screen, you're either too nerdy or too old. Do you recognize that?
I'm going to say I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, God. Okay. Yes, he does. He's just hustling me. No, there you go. That's Night Trap from Mega CD. That's a scene from Leisure Suit Larry, and down there's XCOM. Yeah. So I'm a bit of a nerd. But anyway, now it's time for the good stuff. So it is time for Mark Kyte. Yay! All yours, Mark. Go.
I'm so glad that I could deny all knowledge of recognizing Leisure Suit Larry. I'm getting in a lot of trouble with the wife. Okay, so why on earth would you want to do webinars? Well, there's a couple of reasons that you see listed on the screen there. Firstly, it gives you the opportunity to find some pre-qualified leads. When you think about an in-person event, when you do a free in-person event similar to what Ed's done today, it's timely, it's costly, but the people that do come there they're qualified. They've obviously come there for a reason. The opportunity with a webinar is to do it for much lower cost and get exactly the same output. You get from a webinar, those that turn up, those that listen to what you have to say are pre-qualified. They've bought into you. They've bought into your ideas, and when they've then engaged you afterwards, you've warmed them up. They also give the opportunity, as a result, to build trust. That ability to make a connection, and that's the power generally of public speaking. And when you stand in front of a room and put yourself out there, you build trust because people will listen to what you have to say. And when you do it well, you get them to buy into your ideas and you convince them. And as a result, you establish your credibility, your expertise, and most importantly, you build a relationship. When people start to see you and they start to hear from you, they build a relationship with you. And as a result, when they build a relationship, that's when they will then want to sort of engage further with you. So webinars become effective not only for the reasons that we've just spoken about, but because, they're efficient. They're an efficient way for you to demonstrate your expertise. You can sit at home, and if you have a family, if you still want to market your business, you can do it in a much easier manner. You don't have to spend all day on the road. I was talking with a business consultant last night who was complaining that he spent hours yesterday on the road in Sydney traffic. It's an ineffective way for us to market and promote ourselves, to be constantly driving around for an hour coffee chat with one individual, when we can put ourselves into an online room at home and talk with 10, 20, 30, however many people you can get into your event. You can do that and communicate and build trust and demonstrate your expertise to those markets. It also gives you an opportunity here to compete with the big dogs, because in an online scenario, no one knows that you're a one-person organization that's sitting behind the microphone. They've got no real concept of how big or small your business is. So from the audience's perception, they can see you and you look as big as your biggest competitor, if not bigger. So it's an opportunity there for you to really stand out and say, look, I'm as good as the big dog. I know what the big dogs know, and I can help you better than they can. The last two here are the ones that I really like, because one of the concerns that I often, or questions that gets raised to me, is like, what would I talk about on the webinar? The reality is you already have existing content, whether it's in the form of blogs, videos, white papers, whatever you've used to sort of put your expertise out there. You can repurpose that exact same content and wrap it up in a webinar presentation. That there is an opportunity to reuse your IP, recirculate what you've done, and just deliver it in a different format. And that gives you the opportunity then to start the sales cycle with a whole brand new audience. Now, if you don't believe me, then have a look at this graph here. This is from...
I don't believe you, Mark.
Yeah.
I can prove it. You're a liar.
And Ed should believe me, because this is basically a survey of marketers that has brought this together. It's a confidence gap of the different tactics that marketers might want to promote. So we've got there the social media, articles, microsites, blog entries. You see, look at that. Basically, you're talking around a 50% engagement on most of those in terms of being effective. You drop down to the bottom of the graph. Look at that, 70% of marketers believe that webinars are effective for getting the message out there. It's only beaten by in-person events. Now, the downside of an in-person event is the cost that is and risk that's associated with it.
And I'll just jump in on that one. Hey, just one quick thing, by the way, people. Please send us your questions. So if you want to ask a question, just type us a quick one, right? So we can, we can answer you in real time. The other thing as well is just agreeing on Mark. I'll tell you now, we ran the Profitable Marketing Forum today. That cost us $3,000 to run, not counting on time. That's just $3,000 of cash. Now, we're going to make a lot of money out of the Profitable Marketing Forum, mind you. We make way more than what we paid for it. But the point being is that compared to a webinar, a webinar is what, $150 per month, and you can run like 10 of them if you want?
Well, it's $150 or less. You can get cheaper platforms than that. So it really, you can, we're not going to cover it tonight, but I can sit there and show you how to run a webinar for free using your website and YouTube. You can pull it together. It depends on what you want to do, but there are opportunities there. So basically from free to $150 a month is what you're talking about to run as many events as you want. Now, how attractive is that compared to $3,000 per individual in-person event with all the effort, stress, and hassle that has to go with it?
It was very stressful. I will give you that.
Give me a webinar any day. So I suppose I'd be curious for anyone online there, any of you to drop in and just sit there and say what marketing tactics you're using today and whether or not you think they're being effective. Just to be curious comparison to how potentially webinars could change your marketing model. So let's have a look here. So there are several models that come with webinars that you can look to utilize. So we've got Jenny's sat there, she's using MailChimp, so for email marketing, and this webinars complement that beautifully because that aligns to what I've got on screen now in terms of database building. You can use use your webinar marketing, to basically build your database, and that increases your mailing list. It gives you the opportunity to then get more people into your funnel so that you can talk to and then communicate and influence with a much greater basis of people. And that's the traditional or typical database webinar model, is to basically use it for database building. Now, we all love to basically increase our mailing list because the more people we're talking to and communicating with, the more people are eventually going to connect with us and buy our services. So leverage database modeling as building as the basis for your webinars.
Hey, we just got some feedback from awesome Jennifer Bassett-Smith. MailChimp and it rocks, absolutely. And to me, live webinars are awesome, and when you meld it with things like your email database and Facebook and even LinkedIn, you're talking something pretty powerful.
So let's move on to the second model. Now, this is a real interesting one, and it's one that applies to consultants and coaches in particular. You can basically make a webinar a product. There is nothing stopping you taking a particular topic that you know is of interest to your mailing list, to your audience, to the people that you want to engage with, and delivering that as an online seminar and charging for it. Why not charge for a webinar and make it pay for itself? You could sit there and get your webinar platform paid for and more just by running one webinar that you've charged people to attend. So have a think about how you could potentially look to leverage an online model for delivering your expertise and saying, okay, well, could I make this a product, something that I could actually sell? There's no reason why you couldn't do, for example, some form of online training, whether it's a single webinar or it's a series of webinars. Leverage it to say, okay, well, how could I charge for this and make this valuable to my audience?
Very good.
That then ties in with the next one, which is group coaching here, and that's my beloved football. It's not my beloved Liverpool Football Club, but it's football up there. And for anybody that's going to sit there and try and correct me and say it's soccer, no, it's called the Football Federation of Australia for a reason. It's football, but what it's alluding to there is group coaching. It's a way to take, if you do any form of group coaching now, where you are again similar to the in-person events, you're hiring a room, it's incurring cost. Potentially, you could look to take that online and sit there and get your group that you're coaching and bring them to an online forum and deliver exactly the same value. There's actually no reason why you couldn't do it with the technology that we have available today. You can still see each other if you want. You can look to leverage the technology to bring a disparate group, and it all of a sudden increases your market potential as well, because you're no longer constrained to the market that is available to you that's within driving distance. Then all of a sudden, if you're doing coaching and a group coaching, you could start to coach people all around the country and perhaps all around the world. It'll all work in a webinar model because, again, physical distance no longer becomes a problem. Your ability to then convey your expertise is all that you have to do, and just market that out to your wider community and say, come and join me for this group coaching model. The fourth model is basically what I was alluding to earlier. It's a valuable freebie. It's the firework. It puts the jazz onto your existing product or service. And it could be as simple as just, if you have a product, for example, you could sit there and say, okay, well, buy this physical product and get access to this webinar, which maybe explains to them how that they can then take that use of it and extend it so they become an advanced super user of that product. Really simple webinar technique that you could use. And that little bonus there that you offer to your clients, which costs you very little to put together, becomes when you're ready, becomes an opportunity for you to then just give them that little bit of spice, and it becomes the reason that they buy the products. It's a point of difference that potentially your competitors don't have that you can offer. So we've just had a question come in from Jenny. Says, doing group training, can you see your participants see your face live? The answer to that, Jenny, is yes, they can. It depends again on the webinar platform that you're using, but you can, even with GoToWebinar, share your face, and you can see their faces. So it becomes similar again to an in-person event because you can share your face and they can see your video.
Exactly, and just supporting that, GoToWebinar actually does have a webinar function. I can click a button to activate the webcam. The reason why it's not because we're naked. We're not naked at all. But the reason why...
No, I can definitely assure you we are not sat here naked.
Hey, there you go. They got poor Jennifer. The reason why is there's one thing I will say is I'm talking Australia here, right? In Australia, one of the reasons has been bandwidth has been a big issue. So what I found is with using the actual faces for now, even if your internet's good, if someone, let's say, has a shitty connection, they'll get your audio. But I've done this before. What can happen is if you send video streaming, if their internet can't come up, that can really damage their webinar experience. So to me, the way we're doing it is more to keep it easy. Do you have any technical way around that?
Well, this is one of Ed and I's little points of difference, because one of the platforms I don't leverage for my webinars, I don't use GoToWebinar. I basically leverage a platform that is borrowing it's called Easy Webinar, but it's based upon YouTube. Now, my theory is if you can watch a YouTube video, you're going to be able to watch my webinar, and most people can still see a YouTube video and watch that comfortably at home. So again, I think it's the difference between the technology platforms, and it's about the choice that you make.
That sounds really good. And just a quick recap as well. One thing I want to say with webinars, and this is why I love them, for coaches, mentor, consultants, for people who often convey information in their jobs, right? Webinars, I think, is an amazing tool, especially for business coaches. Business coaches, life coaches, mindset coaches. It is amazing technology. And we've got another great question from Ian Faulkner. Great question. I get 5 or 6 invites daily to attend webinars, and I just reject most invites as I have to do cash-in activities as well. Great. If I do webinars, how do I make mine stand out in such a busy environment? I think we've both got an answer for that. What do you think, Mark?
Well, the challenge I'll give to you there, Ian, is you attended this webinar tonight, and it's all about having benefits that speak to your target market's needs and interests. If the webinars that you're rejecting, I suspect, they might be coming out to you, but they're not hitting your core needs or your core benefits. When you promote your webinar, it's about making sure that you're targeting the benefits and the pain points that your clients or your potential clients are feeling, so that they go, hang on a minute, I need to sit down and have a look at Ian's webinar because there's a need that I've got, and Ian's going to meet that need in the webinar.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, there you go. You rock, Ian. And I can't stress that enough. And what's important, and I'm going to be just straight up with you guys. I'm not going to be, not that I ever am politically correct, but let's assume I was. I'm not going to be in this moment. I hate most webinar invites I get because they're just shit. It's just like, learn how to live an abundant life.
Boring.
Build cash flow.
Whoopsie-doo-dah-day.
Increase your success. Now, if you notice those, I get that shit all the time. So I'm on your side on that one, Ian. I think they're stupid. And the reason is, the reason why we're successful as webinars, and Mark Kyte's been amazing and teaching me a lot about it. It's about being very particular. So this is not a live webinar tonight on achieving financial freedom or learning how to be happier. This is a live webinar on how to set up a live webinar or how to run live webinars. So you got to be very particular. I think you got to have a specific topic. So let's say, for example, you're a coach and you help people. You're a mindset coach, right? The last thing you want to do is do a live webinar on how to become happier, because it's just too general. But if you said, let's say you're a life coach, you're going to do a webinar on how to. What's a good example? What are life coaches? I got one. You do a live webinar on how to eliminate negative thinking or how to overcome negative thinking. Now you're talking, because now you're getting more particular.
Well, you could target that even more to be how to eliminate negative thinking so that your business grows to a new level. So you then target it at business owners. And it's nice. It's the beauty of the online environment and marketing online is that we can actually afford to be that much more specific and targeted in our messages, because we're talking to a much broader audience that we want to filter out, let's put it bluntly, the crap. We only want the people who are genuinely going to purchase our services to sit in and listen to our webinars and watch our webinars, and so that we're getting, again, the most value out of our time. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly. So great way of putting it. So as a recap, what we do say is please be particular and specific. Particular and specific. And think about, why did you join our webinar tonight? So I promise you, we've been very specific and particular about why we're on tonight.
Yep. The fifth model of webinars is basically a mastermind extension. If you're running a mastermind group at the moment, for example, and I know that there are many coaches, many business coaches that are doing exactly that, you might be meeting your mastermind group once a month. And that's, again, it's similar to the group coaching. You're hiring a room, it's taking more and more time out of your day. And as a result, that's wasted time for you. This is an opportunity for you to be more effective with your time, and also an opportunity for your mastermind to be, each of the members to be more effective, because you can sit there and say, well, look, you might still want to have the in-person element to it. So you might say, once a quarter, we'll get together in person, but for the other 2 months out of each quarter, we will just meet online. And you can cover off exactly the same information as you would do in a true, as an in-person mastermind. So it becomes a nice little extension, becomes potentially a nice marketing angle for getting some potential people into your mastermind group, because they might not have the time to commit to multiple meetups in person. But if you can say to them, well, look, you actually don't have to leave your office. We can meet up online. All of a sudden, you might get more high-powered people joining a mastermind group, because it makes it more accessible to them. Now, Dimitri's just come in with a question here, which is it okay to ask your questions to provide you with questions to cover on a webinar? Absolutely. That's actually a great form of market research. And one of the options you can do, Dimitri, behind a registration page, so you can have an initial registration page, and then you get people an option when they get to the second page after they've put in their name and email address to then send through any questions, anything that they might want to ensure is covered, so that you get to, A, do a bit of market research, and B, tailor the presentation and tailor the content to suit exactly that. So hopefully that answered your question, Dimitri. The sixth model that I want to cover off tonight is niche mining, and that's effectively sort of what we've done here to a small degree, in terms of you can use it as a leverage point to do some market research and know what to create products on, get a better idea of what the pain points are within your target market. But it also gives you an opportunity to potentially target particular markets. There is no reason why you couldn't deliver a webinar, for example, that is how to do webinars for lawyers, how to do webinars for business consultants, so that I can then target the benefits, target the language on the registration page to appeal to a particular group that I might be targeting. So it's, again, with a webinar, it's easy and effective way to do that, because you don't have the expense and effort that you do with in-person events. And you can, again, tailor your advertising and promotion of the event, of the webinar, to that particular group. So whether it's through your Facebook ads, your Google ads, to promote it only to people who are lawyers, for example. So there's nice, easy ways for you to target and mine particular niches that interest you, where you know that you're going to have some resonance in that market. So next up, there are a variety of formats. You don't have to, we've spoken about the 6 models of webinars. You can then take each of those models and combine them into these formats here. So we've got a variety of different webinar formats. You can have a single speaker, which would just be yourself delivering a presentation online, which is a perfectly valid model. Ed and I are doing a somewhat interview style. We're doing a combined webinar here where there's 2 of us online. So again, we partner together because we can both talk and add value to this topic that is going to obviously interest you. That's why you've joined us tonight. But you can also tweak that to be an interview style where, for example, we could have, rather than having a formal presentation, we could have had Ed just firing questions at me, sort of like a Parkinson kind of scenario chat show where he's asking questions and we jump in and you could ask questions, so that we ends up being more of a chat show. We can expand that out to another degree by making a moderated panel. So you get 3, 4, 5 people online as the experts, and potentially you could be a facilitator. So you get 5 or 6 experts that you know will interest your marketplace and the people that you want to reach, and all you do is you act as a facilitator. So you get the experts to provide the content, and you just ask them questions and moderate the panel in the similar way that you see at conferences and the like, where you get one person up there that's just fielding questions and just pulling the knowledge out, sucking the knowledge out of the experts for the audience's value. And finally, feedback sessions. We've got basically an opportunity there for you to, again, market and sort of basically to identify the pain points that your market is feeling by having feedback sessions where people can basically feed information into you, ask you questions about your products, your services. So, again, a form of market research. Now, Ian's just popped up a question here. So what webinar product would allow all members, say, for example, 8, to contribute their voices and possibly their screens or faces to everybody else? GoToWebinar allows that, Ian. Webinar Jam, I know, is one that allows that. Anything that's running off the YouTube platform will generally allow that, because that you can have in there, I think it's a maximum of about 10 people on screen at any one time. So what you'd see there, for example, would be one person having the sort of 2/3 of the screen real estate in their face, and then like a film strip along the bottom with the little squares with each other person's face sitting down there, and whoever's speaking gets the primary real estate. So does that answer your question, Ian? Hopefully it does. Let us know if you've got any further questions. Great. That's wonderful to see, Ian, that we've answered your question. So let's move on from the formats and about where do you get the content. So we touched on this earlier, that one of the questions is, what am I going to talk about in my webinar? So you can just leverage the industry panels and find joint venture partners as a way to get content for your webinars. But there's other things that you can do as well. So think about what questions do your clients ask you again and again and again? What are the pain points that you know they're feeling? That's an opportunity for you to sort of do a webinar to educate them on. It could be questions that you don't want to answer again and again and again. They're the ones you put into a webinar because you can educate them and you ingrain yourself in the minds of your marketplace to say, hey, Ed's a good person. He answers all my questions. I'll go back to him. Think about what's fun for you to teach. What aspects in your business and in life do you enjoy teaching, and convert that into a webinar? And think about what valuable information could you share with an audience in 60 minutes. And the reason we say 60 minutes is you don't want to go too much beyond that, because people's audience, the attention span starts to struggle after 60 minutes. So try and keep it within 60 minutes. It's the notional mark where people expect to stop listening and sort of go off and do other things. There are some other places that you can find information. Firstly, your blog. Have a look at what's in your blog there. So this is just a snippet off a page on my blog. There are 3 potential webinars there that I can talk about. We've covered one of them today in terms of the 6 webinar models that will grow your profits. I could conceivably do a webinar on the webinar models and go into much more depth in how you would do them. And you can see we've already had some questions on the webinar models tonight, so there would be some potential interest there for me. Must jot that one down. Then you can also think about, okay, just have a look through your blog, find the popular blogs and go, okay, well, that's the repurpose of that content to make that into a webinar. You can go to and have a look at other people's blogs. Now, there's a real nice website that solves this problem for you. There's a site called alltop.com. So basically, for each market, it puts all the most popular blogs of a market into one page there, so you can then go and have a look and see what other people are blogging about. Now, this not only gives you options for what you'll put into a webinars, but might give you some inspiration ideas for what you might want to blog about or write articles about as well. So have a look at it. There's some real value there that you can easily pick up and get some ideas and inspiration of what to talk about and what to blog about. You can also then have a look at LinkedIn groups, Facebook groups, see what the questions are. See where people's pain points are. What information are they not getting that you can supply to them? And then put a webinar together around that. When you do that, all of a sudden, that's an opportunity for you to put yourself in front of the market and say, hey, this guy is a good guy, or this lady's a great lady, because she's answering a question and a pain point that I have. You're going to get people want to register and attend because you are answering their pain points. This is one of my favorite ones. Have a look at basically Amazon.com. Let's call it the Google for market research, because you can sit there and find the books that are selling, that are popular. So you can have a look there and say, okay, well, what inspiration can I get from book titles, what they're covering in the books that could be a source of inspiration for a webinar. And more importantly, you can then go and have a look at jumped ahead, 1, 2, 3. You can have a look at the reviews for those books. And that's where you'll then find out what's being covered that people like, but also importantly, what's not being covered. What are the things, bits of information that is missing that people want to know about that hasn't been covered by a top-selling book? You cover that in a webinar, all of a sudden that's, again, another way for you to tap into the market and get their attention, because they're going to go, hey, there's someone that's covering that bit of information that I haven't found anywhere else.
Exactly. And just checking in with you, awesome people. Get your questions through. We love your questions so we can guide the content to suit you. And some great points here, some great ways of finding information, Mark.
So how do you deliver a successful webinar? It's this model here. This is the really simple model, and you are seeing it in play as we speak. So we started out the webinar with the meet and greet. So as you came online, we were saying, hey, welcome, we'll be starting at 7 o'clock, so that you knew that you were in the right place. We then did a quick welcome and set the scene for what was going to happen. Ed launched into his story, and then I told my story to build the credibility. We're in the midst of the content now, and we're sharing as much valuable information as we can to give you value. And that's actually the key to a successful webinar. A good webinar is not salesy. It's not about covering information and just a little bit of information saying, here, buy my product, buy my service, buy. You actually need to demonstrate value and show that you have credibility.
And I think that's a great point, because I hear this all the time. I heard this today in our live workshop, right, is one of the reasons why people work with us is because when we do our free, well, not just when we consult to clients, we know what we're doing, but when we do our free live webinars and our free events and all that, I'm sure you people know what I'm talking about. You go to webinars and they don't actually give you any information. They just sit there and just try and screw you for an hour,
yep.
Right? They try and play cat and mouse with you. And to me, what I love about Mark and what we do, which I think is just exciting, we do the exact opposite. We're going to tell you everything. We do not hold a thing back. And to me, the content's very important. You've got to tell people everything and the whole truth. And A, it's just ethical business practice, but B, it really proves to them that you're someone that is trustworthy and then they can trust in buying services or products from.
That's exactly right, Ed. No one wants to go to a great big sales pitch. If the minute you do a great big sales pitch in a webinar, it's very easy for your audience member to switch off and go look at the Sydney Morning Herald and go do other things. It's a little bit harder in an in-person event where they've got to physically stand up. That's in a webinar, you need to be engaging and demonstrate your value from the start. Once you've delivered your valuable content, that's where you can then move into the close, where you share your solution to the pain points that they have. And at that point there, your audience is going to be receptive to it, because they'll know that you actually have credibility, you have expertise, and you'll be able to sit there and say, this is how my product, my service can solve your pain points. And you can do a formal Q&A at the end. Now, the Q&A at the end is also quite a valuable opportunity, because you can publicly congratulate people who might be buying your products and service online, and get people who are sitting on the fence, who are maybe thinking about it. That little bit of, should we say, peer pressure will help potentially nudge them over. You can also use it as an opportunity to address any concerns or common objections that you know your customers often experience when looking at your products and services. So that's the 6-step pitching model, and that's the model that will lead you through to success when you're trying to sell online. So as we covered off, the meet and greet here, where you meet and greet the audience members, you then welcome them through and set the agenda on the webinar. We'll move quickly through these because we've already covered it. Sell your story, and this is, again, one of the keys with selling your story is share your expertise in terms of why you're doing what you're doing. Why is Ed doing marketing? Why am I doing public speaking and webinars? Why is it that you do what you do? Because that's going to build your connection with your audience. And don't be afraid to spend time and taking people through your story. Deliver your content and deliver true, genuine value. Don't be shy here in sharing valuable content. The close, deliver your close nice and strong. Don't hesitate. You have delivered value. You've delivered great content. When it comes to delivering the close, step up and deliver it confidently so that people don't sense any form of hesitation. You've no reason to hesitate.
In fact, we'll be doing that tonight to the audience, won't we, Mark?
That's exactly, and you're going to see it delivered with confidence and without hesitation.
No, just a bit of hesitation, yeah.
And the Q&A, like don't be afraid to stay online and address all questions online so that your audience, gets their questions answered. You sit there and say that you're prepared to hang around for your audience as long as they want you to, and that you can address any objections and congratulate people that have bought your products and services online. So what do you actually need to run a successful webinar? Now, that's a photograph of my desk there. Now, what you don't need is the little boy standing in the background. That's one of the benefits of running webinars, is you have the ability to be there close with your family without having to leave too far from home. You need a microphone, a laptop, and potentially a webcam if you're going to go on and throw your face up on screen. Now, as I think Ian said earlier, Ed and I apparently have faces for radio, which is why we've spared you the pain of having to look at our ugly mugs tonight.
If I can say, with the whole webcam face thing, I would highly recommend don't do that at the start. Just do audio only for a while, and only consider doing the visual side of things when you're ready with the technology. Please don't try your first webinar with that. I wouldn't agree with that. I can answer that one, actually. I've done this. Awesome Jennifer Bassett-Smith is asking, can you use the microphone in your laptop? I'm sure you agree. You can, but I would not recommend that.
No.
The quality is just not that good.
No, and for the cost of a reasonable microphone now, you can get a microphone for, $50. They're not expensive.
Yeah. The microphone that you're listening to us on, which is it's $100. It's a desk. It's actually from a company called Samson, Samson. It's actually one of the world's largest DJ microphones. So this is actually DJ equipment, right?
Yep.
So very well. What technology do you use out of pure interest, Mark Kyte?
Well, it's curious to say, my microphone, it's sat behind that black circle there, which is called a pop filter, and the only reason I have that is for any videos that I've recorded. It stops the popping sound when you talk and share P's and S's. You actually don't need it for a webinar, but it's the fact that, well, I've got it there, so I may as well use it. I could also use the webcam that you can see just in front of the light there. That also has a microphone in it, so I could equally use that. There's many different options that you can have. You don't have to spend a fortune on tools and technology. Now, you might look at that great big white light and think, okay, well, I need some form of staging lighting. It's only because the light in my office is so extremely poor that I chose to put that on there for when I'm on camera. If I wasn't going on camera, I wouldn't need that light there running. Curiously, the most crucial bit of equipment is the cup of water right down the bottom there, so that way when you get thirsty, you've got something to drink so that you can continue on delivering the webinar. Out of everything, that is the most crucial bit of equipment. That last arrow there, have a cup of water with you. And the trophies are a hangover from my speaking times, and hopefully still got a couple more of those to accumulate. You don't need to have trophies to do a webinar.
Oh, I've never won any trophies. That sucks, doesn't it? Underachiever I am.
We'll give you a most improved trophy, Ed. Don't you worry.
Yeah, first of the losers, huh?
And if anybody wants my son to help them deliver webinars,
hey.
Oh, I've got one of Ed's cups as well. We need to find a cup to give Ed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is now we move on to Ian's question here in terms of the webinar platforms. This is just a subset of the webinar platforms that you can use. So there's Webinar Jam and Easy Webinar. They're the entry-level standard, I would say. I mean, they leverage YouTube, and they provide some capabilities that are supplied by the bigger boys. Now, they are at a cheaper price point. So again, it's depending upon your budget. The bigger boys down the bottom of GoToWebinar, Adobe Connect, and WebEx, they're the more expensive ones. But again, depending on the market that you wanted to get to in terms of who's going to be watching your webinar, we'll go in part to determining which product you want to choose, whether it's a Webinar Jam or a GoToWebinar.
Yeah, and on this one, I am 100% in the GoToWebinar Citrix Club. The reason being, it's just superior technology. GoToWebinar is one of the world's leading webinar platforms, and it's forever being updated. And to me, if you walk up to and say, what platform, I would just say GoToWebinar. I've always used it, and it's been just freaking outstanding. Yep. It's not perfect. It's not the cheapest, but in terms of technical stability and robustness, you can't go wrong with Citrix GoToWebinar.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that in terms of its robustness and ease of use. I mean, I've tried Adobe Connect, and again, between all of us here on the webinar, I found it an absolute nightmare to use. GoToWebinar from the corporate standard is definitely the easiest to use. But again, depending upon your target market and what you're trying to achieve, Webinar Jam and Easy Webinar also have their place in the market. And like I say, I leverage Easy Webinar. I'm not afraid of the technical aspects that come with it. And so I'm quite comfortable using that. Now, some mistakes and tips to avoid. Don't want you getting yourself into any sticky situations. Mistake number one, and this goes again to Ian's question earlier in terms of getting people to attend your webinar. You've got to be very clear on the benefits of your webinar to get people to attend it. And it's no different to an in-person event in that if you have unclear benefits, people aren't going to turn up, even if it's a free event. Their time is valuable. So make sure the benefits of it on your registration page are clear so that people, when they read it, they go, that's exactly the webinar I need to attend. So you've got to talk to their pain points and make sure that it's clearly articulated so they go, yes, I need to be on that webinar to learn whatever Ed, Mark, or Jenny, or Rolf, or Ian is going to be covering. You then also want to basically avoid the temptation to gather too much information. Something like GoToWebinar is powerful, and it's powerful because it suits at the corporate level. Now, at the corporate level, you can see there the options that they have, and that's just a subset. I think there's about 100 fields that you can potentially ask a registrant to fill in to attend your webinar. Now, if you do that, you're going to get basically 0 attendees at your webinar. You need to be basically keeping the information down to an absolute minimum. So name and email address, and it could just be simple as first name and email address. That's all you want. You've got to seriously think, do you want to be asking them for the size of their company, the business type, their website, their phone number, the reasons they're attending? The more information you have on a registration page, the less people will actually register. So keep the information that you request of people down to the absolute minimum. Now, the next issue that you want to avoid is a lack of onboarding emails. Now, when people sign up for your webinar, it's important to them. 5 minutes later, there are other things that are more important to them, like what's happening in the news that day, what's the latest email. So in other words, they've forgotten about your webinar by that point there. So you need to make sure that you have a series of emails set up and configured to go out in the days, hours, and minutes before your webinar to constantly nudge them, constantly remind them that the webinar is on and that they should be attending. Now, you want to make sure in those emails that you're restating the benefits, reminding them why they signed up in the first place so that they go, yes, I need to be there. That's right. Ian's covering off this wonderful information. He's sharing it with me. I want to find out about that so that I learn whatever it is Ian's teaching. So make sure you have an onboarding series of emails. This is a real simple one in that it's a way for you to get effectively free attendees. When people either register for your webinar or when they turn up to the webinar or both, get them to share on their social media platform of choice, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it is they use. Ask them to share the fact that they're attending this webinar just so that you get potentially 1 or 2 or 3 more extra registrants. Really simple free marketing advice here. Just get people to share what they're doing because they're going to know people who are going to have exactly the same pain points that they have. Get them to potentially find you 1 or 2 more attendees. Really simple one. The next pain point is not following the sales model that we spoke about earlier. People that struggle with webinars that don't get the success that they think they should be getting, it's because they haven't followed the sales model that we spoke about earlier. You follow that sales model, it takes people through the journey. So you need to be following that sales model so that you can take your audiences through the journey in terms of demonstrating your credibility, building rapport with them, showing them everything you know, and then leading them finally to the point where you can offer your products and services. Too much content on slides is a common mistake. You will notice that a lot of the slides tonight have been very simple, just pictures, and then we've spoken to them. There's a reason for that. In a typical presentation, we are often encouraged to have less slides and spend more time talking about things and then potentially sort of black out the slides so that the focus comes back to you as the presenter. In a webinar, that doesn't happen. The focus of the presentation is always on the slides itself. So you need to basically make sure your slides are picture heavy so that they are more engaging and more appealing. That way people will listen more to what you say, and you actually have more PowerPoint slides than you normally would do. For example, it's not uncommon for a 60-minute webinar to have as many as 100 slides in there, because you are moving through them at a much greater rate, because you don't want people looking at the same thing on the screen for an extended period of time. And we touched on this point here in terms of a weak transition to sales. It's one of the mistakes that often gets made is that there's a, and this happens in in-person and in webinar sales, where you've taken an audience through the content, you've demonstrated your expertise, you've built rapport, you showed how valuable you are and how you can solve their problem. Then when you move into the point of talking about their pain points and how your products and services can solve those pain points, you hesitate. And when you hesitate, that destroys confidence. And when you erode that confidence, people aren't going to buy from you. So make sure that as you move from the content to your close, you stay strong, and you have that, retain that belief that should be within yourself, that you know that your products and services solve their pain points, to make sure that they come along and go and buy your products and services. And finally, a week follow-up. You want to follow up with people that have attended the webinar, or even the ones that didn't attend the webinar. Send them the replay so that they can watch it and get more value from your webinar, and they can catch up on things that they might have missed. So don't be afraid to send the replay out and remind them that if there was a special offer associated with the webinar, that they've got a limited time to get that one. So take the time to make sure that in your email sequencing, you've got the emails to get people to the event, and then finally an email that comes out afterwards to say, here's the replay, make sure you take advantage of this limited time special offer that you might have. Which leads to my special offer. I want to offer you a free strategy session. For those that send through and register with an email tonight, I will sit down with you online and we will talk about how webinars can help you and your business. We'll have an examination of the webinar models and what will be appropriate for you, so that you can determine how you can leverage webinars and get yourself and get your business growing with this online platform. There are opportunities there for you. Don't waste it. Now, I also have available a couple of other sort of different platforms. I have an online training library similar to Ed's Marketing Vault. I have a dynamic speaking library, which has training courses that are available there for you for $37 a month. I have mentoring plans and packages so that you can get your webinars up and running from $550. We will work together to get your webinars live and delivered professionally. And if you're interested in polishing and getting a pitch that you could take to deliver online, at the end of this month, on Saturday the 31st, I'm delivering a full-day workshop where you can come along with no pitch, and by the end of the day, you will walk out with a pitch that you could deliver to an in-person audience or to an online audience through a webinar platform.
So will that be a complete pitch of a day?
It will be a complete pitch of a day.
Yeah, so it's seriously really good. So and that's very generous too. Like Mark's a very busy professional. So I'll tell you now, that complimentary session is very generous. And thank you, Mark. Hey, just if you're on the line, if you are interested, if you can please email Mark like tonight or right now or just when things finish, that would be really good. I'll just put in it's Mark at Public Speaking Skills Academy, isn't it? Public Speaking Skills Academy.
Academy.com.
Academy, Academy.com.
Yep.
.com. Okay. Just send everyone the email address there. Please book into for that tonight. It's good that you do that so Mark can get you in as soon as possible. So please book in for that most generous offer. And this as well as just Mark's online platforms, which is all available on your website, isn't it?
That's all available on the website. You can see that's a subset of the courses that are available online there. So there's a Banish the Butterflies course for those that might be a bit nervous about public speaking. There's an essential public speaking course that actually has project work and a special Facebook group that you can put your project work to so that you can get your speeches assessed, and I'll be on there to help give you feedback. We have a webinar archive where all of my previous webinars are put in there. There's an elevator pitch course to help you get your elevator pitch polished and get that developed. And there's also a Webinars That Wow course. So if webinars are something that interests you, you can sit there and find out how you can deliver a webinar from start to finish and get it marketed and promoted in 4 short weeks.
There you go. So great things, Public Speaking Skills Academy. I think I might have said university. I meant academy. So from a university, you'll get a PhD in something. With Mark Kyte, you get a PhD in awesomeness.
Yes, that's right.
And to me, that degree is definitely worth its bit of paper.
Oh, it's worth more than a bit of paper.
So there you go. So, and this is the thing, and short and powerful. And to me, a lot of Mark great webinars and great content is short and powerful. It totally cuts the chase. And hey, we're just wrapping up now, so feel free to get us your questions. We love having them. Just in closing, all you need is take one great idea now and make it happen. So what I encourage you to do, if you've really liked the content in tonight's webinar, please book in some time with Mark. Again, you can book a strategy session with Mark. You can also hire Mark as well. You could hire him right now to set up your whole webinar program or just help you get started. So please get that all set up and work with Mark in how you want. Now, on this one, even though Mark's been more of the show on this one, 2 ways in which I'd love to help you. If you're not a client already, I have a great online product called the Awesome Marketing Vault. It is $97 a month. You can go to my website, excellenceabove.com.au, and what you get is you get access to my whole video and Facebook library. You get Q&A access at the end of our webinars, and also you get direct email access to me. So just for $97 a month, you can email me unlimited times in a month, ask me whatever questions you need, and I'm there to help. So you can just sign up right now at PayPal. If you're interested, please jump on the site and sign up right now. And if you do want more of Edward personally, I've got great private mentoring packages starting at $550 a month plus GST. So if you're interested in that one, shoot me an email. I can send you back the corporate profile with all the details. So there you go. You people are totally freaking awesome. So just want to give a few acknowledgements and shouts. A big acknowledgement to you. Just want to thank the great content. We've taken Spock from Star Trek, Fallout, Vault Boy, Porky Pig, Martha, Tina Vella, MailChimp. We've referred to Sierra and Leisure Suit Larry, Sega, Mega CD, Night Trap, Jesus, Suzanne Harrington. We've really drawn on a lot of people here. So just want to thank. Thank you. We want to thank Putin as well. Thank Putin. I think he's definitely the world's leader. Thanks, guys. And I don't want to thank Obama because Obama's busy destroying the world, but Putin, I want to thank Vladimir Putin because he's bringing unity to the world. So, sorry, this is a webinar, not Ed's political rant. No, Dimitri's a Russian. He's on my side.
Yeah,
there you go.
I know Dimitri will be on your side.
There you go. So we're pro-Putin around here.
See, I've got to go Obama, though, because he's a much better speaker.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But if you're Putin, you're just too awesome. No, just kidding. So, guys, it's been an absolute awesome webinar. Hey, there's the emails as well. It's an absolute pleasure. Please, again, email Mark right now if you need him. So email Mark. And, of course, you've got me as well. So there you go. We're just going to stop the recording now. We're going to hang back for a bit of Q&A. Otherwise, have a good evening. Feel free to head off now and get 2 things. But you've been awesome. Any closing words, Mark Kyte?
I would say we've spoken about a number of different models, different formats of webinars tonight. Have a think about it and don't waste the opportunity. There is a great vacancy at the moment in terms of people leveraging webinars in Australia. The opportunity is there for you to strike while the iron's hot and dominate the market with a webinar. Position yourself. Don't miss that. Don't miss the boat before it sails.
Well, there you go. Well said. Get on the boat. Have a fantastic evening on. And the recording now stops. And like we always say, stay awesome. Bye, everyone.